Hey everybody, Kim here. I apologize for the delay. And sorry, working on sharing my screen. Not that there's anything to share yet.
Hi, Kim.
How's it going?
Good. I just sent you a note on Facebook. I didn't know what was going on. I've been trying to sign in for 15 minutes and thought it was my computer and slow connection.
Well, we've got they're tearing up the gas lines outside. So we've got internet coming in and out. We were trying to rush back in because I had to go get my glasses, and it's just there's construction all over the place, school zones. It's just
Fun, fun, fun.
yeah, I don't know why they randomly decided to replace the gas lines. Really? Are you kidding me? Cassandra, get out. Fine. Do not. What are you going to do?
I'm going to text Grandma. She texted you just when we went.
Okay, here's the text message to her. Can I go in the other room, please? Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so I can't remember. On Monday I said I might cover, and I talked about like 3 different things I might cover. And one, I actually randomly changed it today, and that was because a lot of people, oh, I need my phone, and she just took it. Okay, we'll do it with CorelDRAW again. Let's see, CorelDRAW. So one of the things I want to talk about, there another group that I'm in fact, the Pinterest group that I'm in where we do the pin share stuff, a lady came on there and she's from another country. I don't know what country she's in, but this is not a country specific problem. This is an online problem, right? Like everybody gets on and they get upset because they do something or have been doing it for a very long time and something's not working. So they get upset because they're like, okay, I've been working on this for 2 years, and which I don't believe, by the way. But anyway, so I've been working on this for 2 years and I haven't made any money. That's actually extremely common. And I will say that part of the reason why, and I already know why I don't make money. Like I do make money, but not as much money as I could. And that's because I refuse to, I'm like genetically not able to focus on one thing. So I have 15 things building, and one day I will just make a lot of money at once. And until then, I'm going to suffer through just like everybody else does. But the big thing is that she had this page, right? So she has her page and it says, so here's her blog post. She had a complaint about a couple different things, and her biggest complaints were no email, no, oh man, that's huge. No, this one, kind of big. So no opt-ins, email. And then the other one that she complained about was no sales. And this is what she had. Content page. Now, content is a great way to generate traffic to get opt-ins or sales, but content by in and of itself is a low conversion with some exceptions. For example, it depends on how you're targeting. Now, she was targeting moms, I believe is what it was. So she was targeting or to be moms, so people who are pregnant or people who are trying to become pregnant. And her blog was so general because you got to think about it. When you're pregnant, you can literally have 100 different categories within just each trimester. And then you can have 100 different categories, well, or probably 1,000 different categories for people who are trying to get pregnant, and then 1,000 different categories for people who've just had a baby. So if your page, if your site is that general, that's fine. You just have to make sure that each page is very specific. And what she actually was doing was that she was breaking it down because she'd only had about 5 posts on it. So she broke it down by like first trimester, second trimester, third trimester. Well, anybody who's had a child knows that in the third trimester, you're going to face a gajillion problems. So she highlighted like 3 of those problems and gave like a solution for each one of them. And I'm like, you can't do that because that's too general. So she was finding that she was getting traffic, and she was using the Pinterest strategy where she joined some groups and she pinned in there, and she did increase her traffic from like 5 people a day to at one day she had 400 people that visited her in one day. And I don't know what her total numbers are from that, but based on what she said, I extrapolated out maybe a couple thousand people who visited her site over a couple of pins. So maybe a couple of weeks. And that's not a lot, right? Because let's say when we're doing e-commerce, so we're going to go over here, we're going to do e-commerce, some e-commerce numbers. Why is that 24 again? I wonder if I can set the default. Doesn't seem to let me. Okay, hopefully that'll change that. So e-commerce numbers, there's this varies based on niche and everything else, but I can tell you in my experience, when you first get started, if you're driving traffic to your site, you're going to see a 2 to 3% conversion, which means sales. Now this is for e-commerce, so keep in mind this is for a sales page. So that's your only focus on this is getting a sale, and you're having a 2 to 3% conversion. When you're 6 to 10% conversion is when once you've like fine-tuned, right? And then you might you'll get higher than that as you go. You'll obviously increase that as you go and you fine-tune a little bit more. So we'll say after fine-tuning some. And then of course there's a lot of variables that go into play into this. So there's a couple of things that you have to keep in mind is that content is only it's going to be a low conversion. And she had, so one of her complaints was that she said, oh, I have an 89 bounce rate, which I believe what she was saying is an 89% bounce rate, that is high. But she had an opt-in pop-up. And I don't know how to emphasize this, but pop-ups are like the lowest converting strategy, unless you are offering something so awesome and so novel. The pop-up opt-in, especially when they first get onto your page, is going to cause a lot of people to close the page. They're just going to close the page or they're going to back up. And I mean, I say this to people all the time. They're like, oh, well, such and such a guru says, or such and such a guru says. I have never met a person that wants a pop-up. Never in my entire life. They created pop-up blockers specifically because people hate pop-ups.
Hey, Kim, what about a pop-up at the end when they're leaving?
Now, that is less annoying because some people, they've at least got their content if they wanted it. But I can tell you that places like Google and Facebook, if you're running Facebook ads, Facebook says do not have an exit or entry pop-up. They don't want a pop-up. Now you can have, and that varies. So Google, same thing, like for search engine optimization, they penalize your site if you have a pop-up. And it's what they call a content, if it's blocking the content. So if this is your page, you could have, let's make a box real quick and let's fill that in.
Do you know you have one on your page?
Yeah, I have stuff tested all over the place.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you knew that if it was just something that came. I think it was on, I forgot which one. I was on there looking at something. But anyway.
Yeah, there's all my sites have different things on them because I usually test a product and then I forget to take it off. So if I were intentionally driving traffic to something, I would fine tune this. But let's say, so if you have it so it pops up right here, they're going to get mad. Well, and actually I should say most people will pop it up like this, right? So that it's that big on the page. And if it's that big on the page, people are going to exit out, right? And I've seen people that actually lock it so that you can't even get to the content until you put your email in. In fact, I have a real estate agent that I work with, and I tell him this all the time. I'm like, look, you cannot lock your content. They're like, oh yeah, check out this house. And then it takes them to the page, but it won't show them anything until they put their email in.
Yeah, that's
and I said, I'm like, that is like, I go, you're not, I go, what is even the point of that? I said, you have 100 and some odd people on your Facebook page, and then you're going to have 2 people click through, and both of those people are going to close out of it. So there's no way. I said, unless they're already opted in and they don't care. And I said, but that's not, then there's no point in having it then. But he doesn't listen to me. He says, my website designer says that I need to have this, and he specializes in real estate. I'm like, well, does he specialize in real estate, or does he just specialize in putting fancy stuff on websites? Because that's my guess, is he does not specialize in real estate. And that's, when it comes down to it, these people who are selling the tools do not specialize in anything but those tools. So you got to look at it from from a sales standpoint is if you're making it so if somebody cannot get access to the information you told them they can get access to by clicking that, they're going to get annoyed. So what, and I don't know the exact one, so this is just a general idea. So here's your content's on your page. If it's in the middle like this, or if it's like blocking it up here, typically Google looks at that as bad and blocking the content. Now, if you make it smaller and like off to the side, so it's not really blocking the content, then, so let's say it's just like, come on, go smaller. Like this, and it's off to the side. So it's still kind of blocking it, but not a lot. So that, and they can still X out of it and stuff. Then that's not considered an interruption as much. So that's not as penalizing. In fact, I think Facebook even allows that when you're doing ads. Like if you have something like that, that's where, I use that social jacker and it'll pop up with the thing on the side, or sometimes it'll pop up in the middle. But as long as you can close it and it's not blocking the actual content, then it's typically okay. And people are less likely to get mad about that, right? Because and especially if it's the Facebook one. So that social jacker is a Facebook pop-up that says, hey, how may I help you? Or, hey, opt in here by, click the button below and get this. And when it pops up like that, if I have mine so it doesn't close because I was testing it on an actual opt-in page for opting in. I was using that as the opt-in. So obviously you don't want to make that hard to find, but you can make it on those. You can make it so they can close. You can make it so it pops up after a period of time. There's a lot of different variations. So it's very similar to a pop-up, but it's less annoying. I say it is still annoying, but it is less annoying. And so with this, it's not blocking the content. People they can scroll, they can do whatever they want. And this just sits over there and is just there, it's just present. So if they X out of it or whatever. So something like that would be much better. So anyway, that's her thing was, so that's the opt-in pop-up causes a high bounce rate, which means less conversion. So now if you're thinking about this, so let's say that she said that she had 400 people was her peak. She was getting about 100 people a day. Let's go with 3,000. Let's just say she got 3,000 people that visited her page, but she had an 89% bounce rate. That means, oops, that's the wrong one. Still the wrong one, whatever. So 89% bounce rate, let's calculate that out. That means she only had, 11% people that stayed on her page? 330 people that stayed on her page. Now, if this was an e-commerce site, she might get a couple sales from that, maybe. Let's say 0.02. So she might get a couple sales from that if it were e-commerce, but it's content. So now she's got 330 viewers, which actually that's not bad considering that's 11% of the people who stayed on her page and read her information. But now they're not clicking through, which means that she's not telling them what to do next, right? You have to tell people what to do next. So instead of having an opt-in, which by the way, something else that we should briefly mention since we're talking about opt-ins is that there's the new GDPR, which is coming out later this month. It's being enforced. If you target anybody in any of the countries, European countries, basically, then you have to clearly define what they're opting in for. So you can't do the whole get this free report, give us your email and we'll give you a free report without telling them that you're also putting them into, that they're signing up for like regular emails. And a lot of people do that. In fact, she had it on there, get your free report, sign up here. And I don't know what happened when you click on it, but if she clicked on it and it goes to the opt-in page, it wasn't very clear that they were opting into regular emails. So that's something you have to clarify now to be compliant with GDPR. If you're just targeting the US, that's not the end of the world. The funny thing is that I think about that and I go, how are they ever going to enforce that? Because it's not a US law, but supposedly you can have hefty fines. So I'm like, how are they going to enforce that? Because the US would have to be the one to fine us. And if I'm not targeting the European countries and somebody from Europe ends up on my site anyway, and then they're going to complain and then they're going to go, I'm going to go, not my fault. They came to my site. That's their fault. So I don't know how that's going to work out, but there is supposedly some hefty fines if you don't clarify that or if you use their information improperly. And I don't know how they're going to enforce that.
So that was going to be my question, because I get people here and there, not a lot, that find my site that are from other countries, and I'm not targeting them. They just Google it and they come to it. So should we just have like something on there just to be on the safe side?
Well, I mean, yeah, here's the thing is that technically the GDPR compliance is not something that we're not doing. If you're using MailChimp or Aweber or SendLane or GetResponse or any of those, you are like 98% compliant anyway. The only part you have to do is clarify that if you're offering something, if you're baiting them to come into your email, right? You're giving them some reason to come in. Oh, in fact, they talked about this too, that when you sell something to them, they have to clearly opt into marketing in order to retarget them. Now, Shopify's been doing that for a while. Like you have to go in there and override that, but people can always uncheck it when they're checking out. So you can either have it so they're automatically checked or they're automatically unchecked. And you can see a change in that. Most people do not adjust it. But I can also say most people, if they buying something from your site, they expect to get an email. But somehow that's going to have to get in there that's clearly saying what they're signing in for is they're going to get regular emails. And, I don't know for sure. There's an article that Aiden and Steve did. Let me see if I can have their email. Let me see.
Oh, speaking of which, it's Dwight and Dan. Ken was the old guy. I was on their webinar yesterday. I was like, oh, I got to tell her it's not Ken. I keep telling her it's Ken. It's Dan. What to remember? D&D. Double D's.
Yeah. So if anybody's interested and they go to aidenbooth.com/GDPR, that's Aiden's blog. That's from Aiden and Steve. And so they have an article about it. And they have a checklist you can download and stuff like that, but that's just to get your email, by the way. So, see, subscribe to my mailing list. They have, they're very email marketing focused, and they make a lot of money doing email marketing. So anyway, so they have this whole thing, and I'm not going to bother to go through it all, but I wanted to share that with you, that they say there's very hefty fines. See, they said very hefty fines on here. But again, like I said, I'm not entirely sure how they can enforce that. So there must be something the U.S. is agreeing to in order to enforce that or whatever. And what I've seen happen is that when something like this comes out, with the exception of taxes, because that's the only thing we don't follow. We have import taxes, but they have it's much harsher. Like their taxes are like 10 times higher than ours. And so they have like multiple taxes for importing, and the person is responsible. Like here in the US, they put the burden on the business. So if I sell something to a customer and it's drop shipped from China, technically, if I'm mailing it straight to them, I should be paying import taxes on that. But because of our laws and the way we have it, you get away with it somehow. And once you get over a certain dollar amount, they might get a little, and we've talked about this before, they might get a little, the US might come after you, but I doubt that anytime soon. So right now, we don't have the same laws that they do in the EU. And the biggest thing with that is that if you want to make yourself compliant, I think all you need to do is make sure you are clear, have a clear opt-in. So you say, hey, you will keep getting emails, right? That's like the best way to say that. So let's take this off. So actually, let's go ahead and move this up here. So now my content. Now there's no way to say an accurate percentage of this 300. So I said in e-commerce, these are numbers. Right. Yeah, Chrissy, that's a good point. You want people that prefer getting emails. So if they want the emails, they're going to let you know they want the emails. And you want those people because they're the ones that are going to be looking for the emails. Otherwise, other people are going to be opting in with, fake emails to get whatever it is. And yeah, you definitely want to make sure that people know they're going to get emails, that they need to check their emails, etc. So you can still have your opt-in list, but you just need to make sure that it's very clear that whatever you're offering them. So if, let's say in e-commerce, you're going, oh, hey, sign up to our email list and we'll give you 15% off your first sale or something like that. That is, as long as you clarify before they enter their information that they will be getting emails on a regular basis. I would tell them, say, we send these out 3 to 5 times a week. We send this out once a week. Whatever it is, I would clarify that to them so that it's a very clear expectation. And that way, there's no question on it. That's about the only thing that I've seen that I would need to adjust. Everything else is kind of handled by SendLane or Aweber. If you're using one of those third-party tools that like Mail.it, or there's another one I have that stores the information on your website, you might run into some problems then, because if the plugin becomes vulnerable or any of your plugins become vulnerable, that information is hackable. So I would say if you're not using MailChimp, which MailChimp is free up to like 250 or 2,500 subscribers or something like that. So there's no reason why you can't use MailChimp at least to be compliant, and then switch over to something else, or, you know, continue with MailChimp once you get up to that. I mean, if you have 2,500 subscribers, or you're sending out X amount of emails to reach whatever their threshold is to pass the free, you should be making money off of it anyway, and it should be a non-issue for paying for a subscription to somewhere. So that's just my thought on that. Like I have 1,300 emails in my email. In fact, I should probably send that out before. I need to send an email out to them before the GDPR kicks in so they can opt out if they want to. But that's the other thing is, you know, so clear opt out, clear ways to manage that's all handled through these SendLane and Get Response and Aweber or MailChimp. All of those, they handle all that on their side. So they walk through all of that. So it's kind of interesting that GDPR basically came out and said, you need to do this. And yet, with the exception of clarifying what they're opting in for, everything else is pretty much handled through the third party. So they're targeting those websites. They're targeting spammers is what they're doing. They're targeting people who scrape emails off of the internet and then specifically target them with it. So that's an interesting method, is saying, hey, we're going to fine you for doing that, but they didn't really clearly say that. So that's just something, I don't think there's going to be much for us to adjust. As far as Trex goes, we just need to make sure that the wording says they're going to get X amount of emails, however many that is. And if you're like, oh, hey, I'm just collecting it for later, that's not going to happen anymore. So if you have it in the EU, if you're in the US, that's fine. And I would even maybe put that in your terms of service. You know, say, hey, you know, this is what we do, because you have on every site you have, let's go to all-time finds and see if it's there. Nope, I did not want that one. I actually wanted just the main page. Come on, how can I not type today? Or untype, I guess. So you should have at the bottom of your site, you should always have, so you got privacy policy, terms of use, and there should be, a lot of times you should put like a disclaimer on there or something. Policy, privacy, and terms of service, terms of use, terms of service are the most common. So if in here you may want to put something in here about opting in and email opt-in, and that would actually go in your privacy policy as well. So you might want to just stick it in your privacy policy. So if you go into the privacy policy, and it should say this is how we use your data, right? So website visitors, we use cookies, etc. That should all be in here. Now this is something that they generated. So yeah, see cookies. So that's in here. Ads, policy changes. So I would maybe add something in here that specifically talks about email opt-ins, and that should cover you. But you know, Aiden's post talks a lot about that. It talks a lot about how to be compliant as far as their interpretation. The funny thing is that this is an opportunity for people to be experts in something that there's no way they could be an expert in right now. So unless you're a lawyer specializing in GDPR, there's no way you're an expert in it. And yet people are all around going, oh yeah, buy our GDPR compliance checklist, you know, buy this, buy that. So it's obviously just another opportunity for people to cater to your fear. But I wouldn't be too worried about it. I'm sure there's, if you're not targeting them and somebody comes to your site from one of those countries and you're a .com, then I don't think you have anything to worry about, because you should not be showing up in their Google search results, right? You shouldn't be showing up as, if they go roofing company and you somehow show up in Germany's list, that's probably not happen. But if people are finding you, because even like Pinterest is a good example. So if you're driving traffic from Pinterest is Pinterest is global. So you're gonna drive traffic from other countries to your site. So what I would do is put the terms of use that this website is specifically targeted for US customers. If you're out of the country, please note that we do not follow the GDPR guidelines if you don't, or if you don't want to change anything. So those are some easy ways to get around that. Okay, so back to the content. So she's talking about, 330 people that made it and read her content. And then she has, at the top of her page, she has her a different opt-in. So she's already had a pop-up that had it. Now she's got another one that had an opt-in here. That's not clear, so we're going to delete that. And then she has some content here, and the content is literally a wall of text. So when I say wall, this is basically blah, blah, wall of text. And this is a problem that anybody who's educated seems to have, because I will be the first to say that I didn't understand this. But if you are typing, if you're putting out content, and I'm going to try to make this a little bit smaller here. It doesn't matter if you can read this or not, because it's not going to be important. So if you are, well, and here we'll use the 11. That's probably a normal font. So you're typing this out and you're saying, typing information out here, and then I'm just going to go pretend like these are words. If I had a lorem ipsum thing to come in here. Oh, actually, I don't want to do an enter yet. You think I could like fake type faster, but no, it doesn't. I don't know why my fingers can't fake type. Okay, so then I'm going to if anybody who's in academia already sees this is an academic paper, of course, and not spelled right. Nobody wants to read these. Slow fake type, yeah. Nobody wants to read these. You know, this is way too jumbled. This is literally what they call a wall of text. And so part of copywriting, which if you guys haven't already joined learn.com, I recommend it, and going through the copywriting, the free copywriting workshop that they offer, because it's very good and it helps illustrate this. So people don't want to see this. As soon as they see a wall of text like this, they're going to close out. So while she had an 89% bounce rate, it probably is, if it's not the opt-in, if the opt-in is, and she'd have to look at the times on that, but let's say that in the first second, we'll call that the opt-in, first 2 seconds opt-in. Past 2 seconds, if they're closing it within the first 5 seconds, it's probably because of the wall of text. Or because if they're on mobile and they just saw that huge opt-in. I mean, there's 100 different variations to this, but I can tell you that the biggest reason that people will stop, if you get an email like this, you just close it. I do. In fact, when students would email me, they wouldn't even do it like this, right? They do it like this. So I wouldn't have any paragraphs at all. It would just literally look like this. And I'd be like, oh my God. I just reply and go, you have a lot of content there. Can you narrow it down to one question? Because like one is because it really did look like this. Like there was no punctuation, no grammar, no spelling, and I'm going, I don't understand a word they're saying. And yes, I was teaching college students, so it just goes to show, huh? So that's what my emails from them would look, and I'd be like, I don't know what they're asking me, and half these words don't make sense. But you want to break it up. You want to make it look so that it flows better. And I haven't done this. If you look at RE Security Solutions, I did not do this on most of my pages, because when I first started writing that was back before that anybody was really talking about visual flow. And in visual flow, you want to make sure that people are looking through that saying, hey, this is appealing to me. So you want to make sure that you have content that is, first of all, bigger. You know, there's I think they said a minimum of like, I can't remember the number. I want to say 2022 font on it, because when you're on mobile, it doesn't scale. So 11-point font still looks like 11-point font on mobile, and it makes it really small. So if I were to pull up her site was really tiny font on my desktop. I'm like, okay, if I were to pull that up on mobile, even if I can zoom in, I don't know that I can see it. So you want to make sure that your font is big enough for people to actually read without adjusting the settings. And you want to also, see, I just did that. So I did one sentence there. So you want to vary your sentence length. And these, if you take the Copywriting Academy workshop, boot camp workshop, whichever one of those are, then he talks about this in better detail. And in fact, you probably want to start with a shorter sentence, but it just depends on your visual flow on here. And so they have what they call short, medium, and long. And so like this one right here with 4 words on it is short. This one's probably closer to medium. And then you never want to go past like 3 lines, right? So never go past 3 lines. And you don't have to make them each one different. Like you can have 2 shorts next to each other, right? Like that, and then maybe go into something longer after that. So breaking it up like that makes it easier for people to read. Then you also want to go ahead and use your bold, italic, and underline. I would use changing the font color sparingly and only one change. So like if you're like, hey, I really want this word people to be a different color, that's fine. But let's say if you decide to use blue, if you change blue, if you don't do red here and then yellow here and then green here, even if they're all for different purposes, just stick with blue to highlight that. The other thing you want to consider is that she did not have any H2s. So an H1 is your title, is your actual title. And in Word, it's different than it is in WordPress. So your H1 is your title. You never need more than one H1. For H2, which is basically, you know, your subheadings, you could start off with, it doesn't, you know, you start off with your content, but then you need to have multiple H2s to break it up. And then you want to have a small amount of content. Now I know, Joanne, you use Yoast, and so Yoast walks you through some of this, but not all of it. Like they don't talk about breaking it up. They don't talk about, you know, they don't really talk about coloring it. So when you have your H2s, oops, it need to be spelled correctly. H2 headings need some color. So instead of having it black, this is your H2s are a good opportunity. Now remember, keep this in mind. This is the only variation I would say. So you have blue here. I wouldn't do blue here. I would do something maybe a little bit more subtle. So you could do like a red like that. And I still wouldn't even change this. I would, instead of making it, I would use a bold or an italic or even an underline. And you can do that. So you can vary, and of course make this make sense, so that sometimes you're using a bold, sometimes you're using an italic, and sometimes you're using underline. Do not change the font type. If you're going to change the font type, change the whole thing, right? So if you don't want Calibri, which I don't know anybody who does, you know, and use something, there's a whole list of ones that are web friendly. If you use Adobe, those are easy. They have them separated out. So like something like this would be hard to read. So I would pick something that's easier to read. Now if you use one of the basics, Times New Roman, Arial, Calibri, any of those that are real basic, that's fine. I don't think that is that big of a deal. But what she did was that she didn't have, the font was not big enough for people to read. And I didn't even get to go through all of this with her. I'm looking at just the things that she's talking about. If you do all of this, this will help you convert, right? But not doing it doesn't mean you won't get conversions. There are plenty of people who don't do this stuff. They have horrible sites. It's a wall of text and they still sell stuff. Why? Because they're better at focusing the person on that one thing. So that's the one other thing she didn't have. So she has a wall of text. So we want visual flow, good visual flow. And then we want to focus. We want to, oops, sorry, I did that again, didn't I? Focus the focus viewer to one task. So this is really easy in e-commerce, right? Really easy in e-commerce because you want them to buy the product. So buy now. Everything you do on there is to get them to buy, to click that buy button, you know, add it to the cart, whichever one it is that you have on there. Which add to cart is supposed to be less scary than buy now. So even though buy now is a really easy one, you want to split test that for your audience and see what it is. Because some people are like, especially if you have time stuff on there, some people are like, oh my gosh, I have to buy this right now. And so that works. But they've said that add to cart is less scary for most people. So they know that if they add it to the cart, they have the option to delete it before they buy it. Don't ask me why. It's just one of those things that they've tested. And when I say they, I say Learn. Learn Nation has tested, as well as the SEO group that I'm in. So that's 2 independent sources there for you. So focus the viewer to one task. If you want them, if your focus is emails, right? Have them focus on emails. If your focus is conversions, which obviously conversions can be emails, but I'm going to use conversions now to mean to purchase something, or in this case, she was like, well, they're not, since it's a content piece, she wasn't even targeting one specific product, right? You can have a content piece that does do that. You can have a product review. A product review discusses the product, and throughout it all, it's click here to, learn, or well, I wouldn't say learn more. Click here to get more information, or click here to get yours now. Click here, something like that, where you're constantly driving them to the sales page. What screen was that eye on? This one? I hope that was it. Okay. I would say I've slept since then, but I haven't, and I just get focused. So yeah, so this is not all of it. Like I said, Joanne, if you're driving a lot of traffic to your site and you're not getting people to do what you want, this is just some ways to help with that, right? So she's saying that she has a content site, and again, that content site does not equal these conversions, because content is, the purpose of that is people to read your content. So unless you write your content for the next purpose, so this is where you focus if you're in one task. If you want them to opt in, you need to say, get more information, opt in now, and do not focus on conversions. So yes, you can have a couple of links going out, that's fine. But if you want people to click on those links, you need to tell them to click on those links, and then you can't ask them to opt in. Now, I know that's what the pop-ups for and everything else, and that's where I would say if you're going to have a pop-up, have it be a closing one. However, if you're doing any type of ads, you won't be able to have any pop-ups. So again, that's where Social Jacker comes in handy, because that's not a pop-up, and you can have it on your site. You can have it minimally intrusive, etc. If your focus on the specific page is not going to be opting in, and it's going to be you want them to click on something, you need to give them specific instructions, right? And this is where you go back to focusing. If she's talking about the third trimester, that is so general. That's not going to have any conversions on it. So instead, what I would say is focus on a specific problem within that. And if you want to have a general content page that's all about that kind of captures it, and then has the specific problems, and then it goes to the specific problem page, that's okay, because now you're going like this. You're going to, right? So you have X would be one content page where you have, okay, let's talk about the third trimester. So are you having back problems? Check out our article on how to solve your back problems. So on why, it's okay, I've got back pain related to my third trimester. Here's the solution. Now here's your sales page, right? So you're going X to Y to Z. That's fine, but you can actually skip X and just go straight to Y. You can create content that's just all Y, but there is a way you can do it like that, where you basically funnel them through. This gives you much higher conversion rates, by the way. So your conversion rates, if you do it this way, are going to be higher when somebody gets to Z. Now this could be 1% clicking through to Y and then 1% clicking to Z, but then instead of getting a 2 to 3% conversion or 6 to 10% conversion, you could have a 50% conversion rate, because you've already funneled it down to the people who are super hyper focused on that. So if that's your whole target is, oh, I want it, but that's a lot of effort, right? So what I would do in her case is, instead of writing general content, unless she wants to use that as a buffer to get into Y, I would say, instead of doing just third trimester, I would focus on a specific problem and then create that call to action. But if, depending on what she's doing, like, so she's got this 3,000 people here. What happens if those 3,000 people are people who are looking to get pregnant and they're just interested to see what the third trimester is about? Well, that means she's going to have 0% conversions. So that's what we call low quality traffic. And I'm going to call them low quality because they're not interested in what you have yet. They're really just curious. They're window shoppers. So in order to increase your high quality traffic, you have to target it better. And the only way to do that is to get more specific. So this is where, when we talk a lot about this is where Etsy comes in handy, right? So Etsy's got the buyers. They're already ready to purchase something because they're on Etsy. They're not on Etsy researching third trimester. They're on Etsy going, how do I buy something to fix my back pain, right? And maybe they've already narrowed it down to, now I need, what did she say it was? Some sort of brace, right? Back brace of some sort. And so they're looking for that. So now you've got that keyword that solves the problem, and that's what you're targeting on there. So people are just now looking for their best product on Etsy. So Etsy's already to Z, and they've already people have already gone through X and Y. Now they're on Etsy because they are Z. They're ready to buy. So that's what makes Etsy better than having a cold audience. They've warmed up. They're already warm when they get there. But you also pay for that, or you have to get very creative in your search engine optimization. So when we look at this generally, our solution is what we've been talking about all along, right? Our solution is we need to focus. We need to identify our keywords. So we've done our SEO, and we need to identify, hold on, I'm going to actually delete some of this. So we're going to delete these. So we've done our SEO, and this is part of SEO. We've done our keyword research. And then we've created content or a product page or whatever that is that focuses on that, right? So we focused. And then and now we can apply our visual flow if we haven't done that already. And like I said, you don't have to have visual flow, especially in e-commerce. That's the great thing is e-commerce, you're not going to have to worry too much about all of this, right? Yes, you don't want a wall of text. So that's why they also tell you not to put the features first. Like, yes, you need to tell people that the ornaments are 3 inches high. In fact, that's the way I used to focus when I was on Amazon. I'd be like 3 inches high, 3-inch high, made out of wood. That's pretty much my description, right? I sold it by picture only, and we still did well. And then when I started going in and talking about the benefits, this is great for people who love Celtic or well, actually, those really do sell by picture, but great Christmas ornaments, great for making gifts. And other people would put reviews on there. Oh yeah, I use this in scrapbooking. And then all of a sudden our sales would increase because somebody said, oh yeah, I can use it in scrapbooking. And so once I reviewed the reviews and said, oh, wait, okay, let's put these in as benefits. And I went back and fine-tuned a couple of our more popular ones. If you look at all my listings, you'd see that I didn't do that in all of them. We increased our sales on those. And that's because we started talking about the benefits and less about the features. So 3 inches is a feature. It's not a benefit. The benefit is that it's a perfect size to fit on an ornament or as an ornament, as an ornament on a tree or as a decoration on a gift. Those are benefits. The features again are, and even then that's still a mix because the benefit is you can even get, and it's really hard when you are thinking about your own product. It's so much easier if somebody else tells you. So if you get stuck on that. Chrissy says, I bought a mini iron just because it said I could use it for something specific, even though I can use it as a regular iron. Yeah, exactly. So it's an iron and it does stuff. You kind of know that it's an iron and it can be used for certain things, but they tell you, hey, this is great for, and then they're targeting you specifically for that benefit. And now you're like, oh yeah, that's a really great idea. So yeah, I mean, it's an iron. I can use it for other stuff, but hey, I can use it for that benefit. So I'm going to. And you're not going to say, oh, I bought it because it said it was 6 inches high or 3 inches high or however big it is. You didn't buy it because of that. You may have known that before you purchased it or may not. Well, oh yeah, because it fit into your cupboard in a certain space. Now, so there are times, obviously your product is going to vary based on what you offer. The size may be a benefit in your specific product, but that's something you're going to have to determine. And you may need to ask people, because that's what we do. Well, what do you think this is good for? And wait, I need my glasses. Okay, there is a guy laying out there, but he's not dead. Okay. It looks like he got run over by a truck, but he's actually just lying under the truck for some reason. It's not sunny out, and there's lots of trees, so that was really scary. I was like, oh my God, did he just blow himself up or something? I don't know. They're working on the gas lines. So get paranoid. Anyway, so we've already done the keyword research. We've focused our page, and then we can now adjust our visual flow. Now that includes, appropriate pictures. That's the other thing. All of her pictures were vague. Like there was nothing other than one where there's a lady had a big belly. There's another lady who didn't have a big belly on it. I'm like, okay, if she's in the 3rd trimester and she's that skinny, I think she's lying about her pregnancy. That's just my natural conclusion. So you need to make sure the pictures are appropriate. And obviously in e-commerce, that would be, product in use, alternate angles, different things. Well, and see, Chrissy, that's true, except that a lot of people in that niche, in the mommy or mommy to be niche, they look for information. So I don't know what her pins looked like. I don't know how she drove 400 people on one day to it. She probably did a really good pin, because your pin can be misleading. A lot of people do that. Not that I'm saying you should, I'm just saying it could be. So a lot of people, that could be another reason why she had her 89% that left, right? Is she could have said, get the secret to curing back pain on her pin for pregnancy, right? So she's in that particular group. And if they clicked on that and then it says what you need to know about the third trimester, and it doesn't talk about back pain until like well below the fold, which, the fold is whatever you can't see on the screen, then that could be another reason why they left the site quickly. Now, I'm still going to guarantee it was her pop-up, because that's the first thing I wanted to do, was just close it. And then her site looks like a blog. And a lot of people, when they're looking for that, they're looking for articles, not necessarily blogs. So if you make your blog look more like an article. Right. No, Chrissy, yes. That's exactly what I'm saying. If your information is way too general, then people aren't going to stay on your site. They're looking for solutions to a problem. So if you're just like about the third trimester and you're talking, it's like teaching, what was the class that marketing. Yes. Our marketing class that we took at the PhD level, right? And it's talking about marketing in general. Oh, well, when you market, you need to do newspaper marketing. And there was nothing in that book that had specifics, at least when I went through it. I know you said your marketing class wasn't that horrible, but I don't know if yours is updated or not, but mine was like very general and for a large corporation. So obviously if I were to read that on a page, I would be like, this is irrelevant. I'm going to close it. Yeah, magazines, TV, etc. That's so retarded. Yeah, the PhD level. I paid a lot of money to get a useless class. So anyway, so appropriate pictures. I would, if you have a video, include video, because, we've talked about this before. People who, they like video, it's very engaging. It helps keep them on your page. A lot of people, what they'll do is they'll have the video and then the words on it will just be the content from the video. So you can do an either or. People can watch the video, or in fact, I've seen a lot of news stations doing that, where they'll do the video at the top and then they'll basically have a transcription below it. So, oh yeah, you gotta go get your kids. All right, have fun. So, and these are all things that we've talked about, our on-site optimization, right? And then as we get people onto our site, and then we can see from Google Analytics that they are or are not doing something. So let's go back to this conversion again, like we talked about. So this 3,000 we don't know. We don't know if it's low quality traffic. We don't know if it's how she targeted. We don't know. So we just know that this 89% is telling us that there needs to be some changes. More than likely, it's the stupid pop-up. If she takes the pop-up off and she still has a high percentage of people that are bouncing, then I would look at the next steps. I would say, okay, is it visual flow? Is it how she's bringing the content in? Is the pin misleading? Because oops, I didn't mean to do that. Because keep in mind that, we've talked about this before, or maybe we haven't, is that when you run an ad, it's the same concept, right? So you run an ad. Why do I keep doing that? Delete. I want it to know what I'm thinking. So if you run an ad and it has an image on it, and you're running it to you're driving it to your page, like that one, seriously, then your product page should have matching image, right? So congruency, matching image. We'll just say that. Sorry, I'm trying to make this a little bit bigger, but there we go, ish. So we want the matching. It doesn't necessarily have to be the first one. It just depends on how your site layout is, because like Trex has the capability where you can have a video there, and then you can have a video in your. So if I did that, I would have a video ad, which was maybe a smaller version of it, and then have the video on the next page, but it be longer, right? Now you can have it be the same. That's fine too. But you want to make sure that when they land on it, there's a mental thing. So it could be that she's using a bunch of red Her page is purple. So she's using a bunch of red in her pin and there's nothing, no branding or anything. And then they land on that page. They could think that they landed in the wrong place, especially if she's talking about back pain and then it's talking about the third trimester as soon as they land on it. So that congruency is critical. That's whether you're in e-commerce, you're driving content, whatever it is, it needs to be, you need to keep the congruency there so that people they don't think they've come off of a different page. And when you do your funnels and tricks, you can still do this. A lot of this is just branding. If you brand your page and you have your logo on every page, then you're fine, because that's going to have that congruency there. But again, if you have an image, and this is a good example, I used to sell butterfly cutters and I had 2 different pictures. So I tested this, and when we took the picture from the ad and put it in the first place on Shopify, we had more people buy than if we took an alternate image for like just the product with a white background and made that the primary image. It lowered it. Not a lot, but enough to go, okay, yeah, I do see where that does make a difference. So if people can land on it, and what we ended up doing is we ended up changing it so that, and here, I'll go into this, make another page real quick. Maybe. Yeah, so what we ended up doing is here's the image that we used, and then we took that image and then we made it within the product image. So let's say we ran 3 ads and there were 3 of them that showed it in use, but then we wanted to make sure that we had the product one. We did those 3 here so that it was more consistent. Now I would split test this, and then we had the main product up at the top. So that's what we did to help with the congruency, so that when we ran any of these ads, we didn't have, because at the time we didn't have the capability to do multiple pages. Now I do. Now I have the capability where each one of these could go to their own page. But at the time I did this, I didn't. And in fact, for Trex, I don't know that we would want to create 3 different funnels to do this. You could, and you could split test to see if one of these is better than the other, and then focus on that one. There's a lot of different. Trex is very powerful and capable of doing a lot of that. But this is what we ended up doing, because at the time when we were on Shopify, we weren't paying for anything to help with split testing. So we just ultimately put them together so it was in that first image, and then we separated each one of these out as individual images, and that seemed to work fine. Our conversions, we got up to between 6 and 10% once we fine-tuned our algorithm and had the right kind of traffic coming in. So when you look at this, I know this is a wall of text as it is now, but hopefully you guys were able to watch me as I built it. And you have to keep in mind that e-commerce and content in and of itself is going to be a completely different type of conversion. The number of conversion is going to depend on what you're doing and what you're asking. If you're asking for an email opt-in, right, you've got to be asking, and we've talked about this before, you got to give them a good reason to opt in. So if you have, I'd say, for example, people who are passionate about baking love recipes. If you guys are at all interested in building an email list and you want to give out recipes, people love that stuff, right? And don't worry, you're not competing with me, because I'm never going to have enough time to do that. So that's one way. Oh yeah, opt into our recipe list, and once a week we'll send you a recipe. And then, or we can say we mail you marketing stuff 3 times a week, and one of those includes a recipe or whatever, or you can just focus it so that your recipes then talk about all the different tools you've used, say, okay, this is what we've done. And so they go back to your blog page, obviously, and then your blog site would have that, and you have recipes, and you can click out like that. That's engaging content that people will buy stuff from, but it's very specific. It's specific to that one topic. And that's where I say that you need to make sure that you've done your keyword research. If she had done her keyword research, which actually cracked me up, some guy on there who's trying to pose as an SEO expert is like, what you need to do is you need to target the ones with the highest traffic. And he said, mommy has the highest traffic, so you should put the word mommy in it. And I'm going, are you insane? That's like the dumbest advice I've ever seen. Why would you just have an article about mommy and hope that somebody clicks on you, that you even rank, first of all, and that people would click on it? That's like people like that. I'm like, oh, wow. Is there a way to block you so I never see your comments ever again? The stuff that you say is making my brain cells hurt and die. So you do not want to target high volume just because it's high volume. You can target high volume if it's something that's useful and then you can build upon that. I don't think that's a problem with that. In fact, I think that with the strategies that we implement, that we've been implementing so far, and the ones that we continue to implement, that we'll be able to rank for harder, not hard, but harder than easy. So like medium difficulty keywords. And so I don't think that that should be as big of a deterrent as it once was. Like when we first got started, we wanted to target ones that were low hanging fruit. But the more that we're doing this, I'm going, it's all low hanging fruit. I mean, if I can put Celtic ornaments in there and that's easy, I'm like, does it matter? I mean, I'm going to rank for Celtic ornaments eventually, no matter if I just do the steps. So I wouldn't worry too much about competition as much as it is you want to make sure that whatever keywords you're using, you've done your research to make sure that it's something that people are searching, because we don't want to target keywords that nobody's looking for. You know, like she targeted third trimester, right? So let's look at that one real quick. Third trimester. That is literally, oh, I spelled that wrong. That is literally 91 searches per month. So that's not even a lot anyway. So she targeted third, and she actually did the third trimester. So let's do an exact match on that. That's at least better, 170 per month. But there's like no competition on it. So, oh, look, and these are the ones that people are asking. Which week is the third trimester? What is third trimester? And this is a good way to figure out. I mean, there may not be search results with this, but if Google's saying that if they're linking this to whatever your term is, that means that these are counting for that. So which week is the third trimester? And then, so people are asking that. So if yours answers that, your third trimester, week by week, look, that answers that exactly, right? Third trimester, weeks 29 to 40, that answers that. What is third? Yeah, what is third trimester? That looks weird when you say it and look at it too many times. What does it see? These are all very similar. So, and all of these are ones that answer that. So if they're saying the third trimester, this means that that's what people, that Google is matching to that. And Google's very smart. They're not the smartest, but they're very smart. Their algorithm saying that this is the content that is most likely to go with this. So if she's writing an article, this is what she should be expecting to see. Yeah, she should be expecting people to be looking for this kind of information. And if she wants to go there, let's look here and see if they go to fitpregnancy.com. Oh, there's no call to action. You can see read more about being 28 weeks pregnant. So if somebody's 28 weeks pregnant, they can click on that. And you see this is where it's going XYZ again. So here's their sign up now, right? They have their sign up now. They have an ad that's popping up and annoying me. Though that's a good way to do some advertising. And they have a bunch of ads on the side, right? So that's how their monetization is, their ads. This is how most content goes. They will do the content and they'll have the ads on the side. So they went X, Y, and then it looks like Z, they're going to just depend on people clicking on links. But they have links to other articles inside theirs, which that's what, if you're going to do that, that's what I would do. So they're doing X to Y to Y to Y to Y to Y. And they're relying on these ads. So if somebody comes in and clicks on an ad, which Google goes through great lengths to make sure that when you have an ad, that it's higher converting for the keywords that you're at, because they want to reward the people for putting their ads on their site. Now, there's no guarantees. Like, I don't know. I can't even see that, right? Because it's so small. I can't even see that. In fact, I would probably change that. I would zoom it in or something. 50 best pregnancy announcement ideas. So just if you ever do an ad, keep in mind that that's not very big. And then, of course, they have you might also like, and some of these are sponsored. So that's how they're monetizing their site through advertising. So this is literally pure content is what they did. So if you want content and you want people to sign up, they did have a Z for an opt-in, but it was really quick and kind of subtle. Then, yeah.
Do you think sponsor, are they by Google or are they getting their own advertisers?
Well, you can do it any way you want to, but those look like, since it said sponsored on there, it was probably from Google or Bing or something. It just depends on whatever network they signed up with.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, and you can have, if you don't want to do sponsored ads, or if you don't want to deal with that, because the percentage of money you get from sponsored ads is really low. I mean, it depends on the keyword amount. So like when we're doing our keywords anywhere, for that matter, let's see here. Put that in there, and actually let me put the third trimester, since that's what we started with. This is what they're up here. They look at this cost per click, $0. So those people probably aren't making a ton of money off of their advertising on that. I mean, they could be, because it's dependent on their page, not necessarily the keyword typed in here, but they may not be making very much money on that. So what they tell you to do is if you're looking to put advertising on something, look for, like even here, like Keywords Anywhere has it. This one's 81 cents. This was 26 cents. Here's one, bounce rate. That's funny because that's from earlier. How many people read books that are not students? Oh yeah, I looked that up just to see, and there's no real number. So
your best bet would be having your own products on there and advertising your own stuff.
Oh, heck yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And that's exactly where I've been saying this all along, is that you use content to drive traffic to the content page, and then I would advertise them to them related. And that's where, remember I mentioned this before, this Power Suggest Pro, which, I already have it up. So like I put in here, I wanted to do how to do keyword. I wanted to see if they had anything else in here, but I can actually do this later. Clear all results. When it's smaller, it looks much different. So let's say that I wanted to look at third trimester, right? So I could put an asterisk in there and put third trimester and find out different things that people are thinking of. And this would be, so let's say that I had a product that was specific to the third trimester. Now, of course, with products, it's a little bit easier because your product is a benefit, right? You have features and benefits that you can use. You could do something like here's one, at what week does the third trimester start? So somebody who's looking at that is obviously not in their third trimester and looking at what's going to happen in their third trimester. So she could target at what week does the third trimester start, and then specifically say, here's the top problem people report in the third trimester, and then talk about back pain, and then have product images on the side. And the product images being there would help them go, oh man, that's how I solve it. Oh, look, it's right here. Click. So there's a lot of different ways to do that. Now, I will tell you, content, no matter what you do, content has a much lower conversion rate than a conversion one, like if you're trying to convert, so a product page or a specific demand or instructions. And so typically what happens is that if you're running content, that's when you're going to start doing your retargeting ads. So, right now, the way they teach it is you have an ad that goes to, so you have your image ad and it goes to your congruent page. And then you would retarget people on that page. Well, that's because you're driving traffic there. If you could do the same thing where instead of having an ad, you have your content here that drives to a page. So remember, we're focused our content. We know why they're there. That's important. So this is exactly why it would be very difficult for her to retarget as well, because it's too general. So, but if she's talking about back pain in the third trimester, you could say, okay, people have come to this page because they're interested in that. I have a product. So I've pushed them now to this product page, and my content's been my driving thing. Now I can use my retargeting ads to retarget people who have looked at either my product or my content page. And so I can retarget the content page with that product because they've been interested in this. So content comes in handy, but only if it's specific enough, only if it's something that you can use. And if you have your own product, you can build content pages. You just want to make sure that there's actually a people interested in that content. So this is where I go back to Linda's Pitbull shirt, right? So if she's in Pitbull groups and she's like, okay, the group has already said they don't want me pitching products. So what am I? Oh, I'm going to share content. I'm going to write an article, and you don't have to write this from scratch. You can curate content, or what I like to say is recycle content. And that is, as reported by, and I told you guys this before, The Blaze does this, NBC does this, ABC does this, Fox News does this, they all do it, right? They all get the information reported from the Associated Press and say, as reported by the Associated Press. And then they just rewrite a little bit and say, to get the full article or to get all of the information, the details, click here. So you can do that exact same type of content if you wanted to, and then put your product pictures next to it. So now you're doing your content and then you have your ads, your own ads right next to it.
That's good.
So that's a great way to drive people who are interested in, if it's a specific topic. So, you're already, people who are looking at that article, especially if it's a happy article about pit bulls, right? So, oh, this pit bull, how this pit bull saved someone's life. And then you regurgitated the content and linked back to the source, but then you have a couple different products listed on there. Even if they don't buy anything, you can now retarget them because they're a pit bull lover. There's somebody who's interested in pit bulls.
Okay, wait a minute. So you're saying put a link to that article, or should we copy the article and just leave it on our page?
So you can do it either way.
Which have you tested it, found one's better than the other?
Well, I can tell you that depending on who you're copying, that some of them get mad. But I mean, as long as you're crediting the source, you can do it either way.
Okay.
In fact, there's one of the groups, the syndication group that I work with. That's what they do to curate. When they initially teach you to curate content, they teach you just to copy the article and credit the source. And in fact, when I told you guys, when I'm doing this on bakers, I have absolutely nothing unique. When I'm doing my Facebook stuff, I won't even bother to pull it up because I've got too much stuff open.
Right.
But on my baker site, that's 100% curated content. I just pull it over as in the RSS feed. It puts the title and it has the link in there. That's it. I do nothing else, right? I've just set up the feed. You're welcome.
You set that up in, what was the name of the program you used? But not Buffer. Was it Buffer?
I used Buffer because I already had my Facebook attached somewhere else. But if you don't have Facebook attached to the If This Then That network, you can do it straight through IFTTT.
That's right. If that, then yes.
Yeah, okay. If This Then That. So now the thing with that though is that if you don't use Buffer, then it'll post whenever they post. It'll just curate it automatically over at the same time. But if you use Buffer will schedule it based on when you want. And we talked about that. Instead of doing it every 5 minutes, we can schedule it so that every 2 hours it's putting out content.
Okay. So on Buffer, I can't schedule it. But if this, then that.
No. You can on Buffer. With Buffer, you can schedule content.
Okay. So I did type it. Okay. So,
yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. If you're using Buffer, I can schedule it. Okay.
Yeah. Now I should also qualify that if you're paying for Buffer, then the paid version of Buffer has an RSS feed option. So you wouldn't need If This Then That. But if you're trying to do it for free, then you need the If This Then That so that it'll it'll pull that in and put it in your queue automatically without you having to do the work.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's the best method. That's just the way I figured out how to do it. That's not from the training that they taught us. Once they said, oh, yeah, you can find an RSS feed and post this stuff, I'm like, can I do that on Facebook? And then I just did my own research. And because they didn't talk about that at all. They just said, we have an entire course on that if you want it. And I'm like, yeah, maybe later. Right now, I want to focus on what I can already think of. Because they don't teach anything that's like, earth-shattering. But it was nice to be able to see the whole flow.
Cool.
So what other questions? I know this is kind of a lot for visual, when I would talk about visual flow, and there's a lot of, as you guys can see, there's a lot of variables in here. So when people, it discourages me to see people get discouraged, because I think I was there once. I used to be there once, but to me, I'm like, well, it didn't work. I'll try something else. Oh, it didn't work. I'll try something else. And I told you guys this before. It would be really nice to know numbers, right? Because when I'm running an ad and I run it for 2 weeks, I have 789 impressions and nobody's clicked on it, which didn't cost me any money. So, okay, who cares? But I'm like, I'm going to turn this off because it's obviously not working. I'm not getting very many impressions and blah, blah, blah. Now, granted, I was an 8-cent cap. So 789 impressions was probably still pretty good. I definitely should have let it run since it wasn't costing me any money. And it got approved. But I was like, well, I guess I'll just turn it off so I don't have to worry about it. And then 2 days later, I saw that it was a in one of those group weekly webinar things for one of my groups I'm in, and they interviewed somebody from WordStream, and she's like, oh yeah, if you have a low ad budget, and when I say low, I mean, I'm pretty sure they don't mean you've capped it out at 8 cents a click. That's probably like less than low. So when she's saying 4 to 8 weeks, if you have a low budget, and that's on the minimum side, I probably should have let that thing run for a year before to do a full test at 8 cents a click. So I was kind of like laughing to myself afterwards going, yeah, I was being a little impatient there. I mean, I thought 2 weeks. I'm like, well, I mean, I should get some data for 2 weeks. I'm like, but I'm not even collecting data. And I'm like, her point was you can't really collect the data until you've reached, certain amounts, and you're not going to get that amount unless you let it run long enough. It's the same thing with Facebook, same thing with Pinterest, same thing with any of these that you're going to run ads on or do anything with. You can't just do it once and say, oh my God, I'm a failure, because the reality is that you aren't a failure unless you give up. If you keep trying, you keep going at it, then, there's ways to fine tune. And it's helpful if somebody can look at it and say, hey, this is what you need to fix. But the reality is without data, you still can't pinpoint it. And so like I said, when she said this 89%, I can tell you that a very large percentage of that 89% of the people that were leaving her page was because of her pop-up, of the email pop-up. And then I would look at the times, break it down by how long were people staying on my site. And if people aren't staying on my site for very long, the next step would be I would look at visual flow, and then I would look at the content matching it. But I guarantee you, if she's getting that many clicks from Pinterest, her pins are good. But I would venture to guess that she's got low quality traffic, because there's no way to match that up. Her page is too generic. It's too general. So I would say, you can use your content to push to a product, but in her case, she was using her content to push to 15 products and ask for an opt-in, and it was all over the place. So I'd be like, okay, you need to break this up into about 15 different articles, so that one for each product, or each one product focus. I'd add in, if she said it's her own product, I'm like, then add a picture of your product. Why would you not have a picture of your product there? It doesn't make sense to me.
Were you able to look at her pins by any chance?
No, I'll have to ask her for that. That might be the next thing I ask her for. I say, hey, another thing to consider is that depending on what your pin is, because I already had this really long response to her, so I might just send her a message and say, hey, you're in a hot niche. I'd be interested to see if I could help you a little bit more, directly one-on-one, so I could see that. Because she obviously, if she's getting 400 people on one day, then it's working. Whatever she's doing in Pinterest is working.
Yeah, I'd like to know what her posts look like.
But she was driving it to content, so. But then it could be the group she's in too, right? I mean, the group could be just an active group, because you can get into a group that's not active. So there's, like I said, there's a gajillion types of variables, and without that data, it's hard to pinpoint what it is. She was able to say, hey, I have a high bounce rate. And so now I can go, okay, pop-up is your first problem. Visual flow is the second problem. Your focus is the third problem. I didn't even talk about visual flow with her, though. I just did this one, and then I talked about focus. And then I said, because I don't know what her purpose is, if she wants email opt-ins or if she wants people to buy her products. Because if she'd prefer people to buy her products, then she needs to make this a secondary goal, right? They can't both be primary goals. So she can have that on there. Oh, hey, opt in, and make it be more subtle. But if her primary goal is products, she needs to focus her efforts on there to be click here for this product, click here for this product. Have product images. She needs to entice people then for that. If it's just she wants people just to view her content and then she wants to retarget them, then she can just leave it the way it is. But that's still going to be really difficult, because there's no focus. So how do you retarget somebody with a product that meets their needs if you don't know what their need is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is all a bunch of information that's been jammed in my brain that I'm like, how do I tell people this? But like I said, and I think learn.com, I think you can still get in if you haven't. If not, let me know, because I have 10 referrals that I can give people. I think that's just to make it exciting for us, because I think you can still go to learn.com and sign up. I may be logged in, but learn.com. Yeah, so I think you can still stick your email in and say request free early access. But I'm sure that will be fine. Otherwise, if you can't get in that way, just message me and I'll send you guys a link through mine, because I'm already in. But so here, I'll show you exactly which one it is for the copywriting one. Anik is very good at converting. So even if you don't agree with what he says, these are ones that are my courses. So let me go to the free courses. Classroom. Well, see here, they even have, if you go to copywriting, they have, the Academy is the one that you purchased. That's the one that I've purchased. The copywriting bootcamp is the one, it's free. And I kid you not, yes, there's a lot more in here that's very specific and very detailed and would help you kick it up another notch. But this free one, the copywriting bootcamp, has more than enough information to help you be successful. I mean, you could be successful just by using this. It's when you want to fine tune and go up. Like I've even finished this one because I got to webinar stuff and I'm like, oh my gosh, like 9 hours in one sitting. And it's like, holy cow, I don't have that patience. I don't have the patience anymore. I don't have a child with that patience anymore. So she used to at least sleep for 9 hours. Now I don't think she does, which is kind of backwards because everybody complains about the beginning. When she was first born, we had a problem. But then by like week 7, she was sleeping 8 to 10 hours a night. So 7 weeks. And I was like, okay, well, I've never once complained about my daughter sleeping until now, because she will not sleep. She gets up 12 o'clock. Mommy, you need to tuck me in again. Anyway, so I would take the copywriting bootcamp. It's free, and it's all of their free courses have tons of great information. Like this is just if you wanted to be certified in it. You can literally take the copywriting bootcamp class, and if you take just a couple of the things they talk about and apply them, you will improve your conversions. You know, I talked about a little bit of it, but he has a lot of great tips in there that I even forget about and have to go back and review. Okay, wait. So Brian has a question. Okay, oh yeah, Joanne, did you ever try to get into Chatmatic yesterday?
Yesterday, no.
Okay,
what was it again? I tried it on Monday when we were on. What was it again?
Yeah, so try it again. It's live.chatmatic.com.
Tell you in a minute. Well, maybe more in a minute. My computer's so slow. Oh, let's see. Log in with Facebook, Chatmatic. Now, should I log in with Facebook, or is there another way to do it?
You have to log in with Facebook. It has to be connected. That's Facebook's rules.
So look at that. It's working.
It is? Okay, so Brian, there you go. You should be able to get in now. If you go to, it's live.chatmatic.com.
Now, if I'm signing in with my personal account, am I going to be able to link it to my business page?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's no problem. It'll give me a list of.
Yes, yes. All of your pages are part of your profile. So even though people don't know that, that's you cannot log straight into your page without being attached to it through your personal one. That's the way Facebook is. Facebook wants everything controlled through your personal one.
Okay, yeah, because the other day I knew that, but for some weird reason, I guess years ago when I started, I had tried to set it up on my business Facebook page. So I've got like 3 logins, and I don't know why, and they don't seem to work. So I should just delete them somewhere along the line. I don't know even how to do that, but it just confused me.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, because I did that where I was trying to create a business ad thing for my EP laser one, and it took me to the page, but for some reason I wasn't logged in. So I was like, oh, I guess I need to create a new one because I already have one. And so I created it. Brian, it basically creates an account for you. Now you won't have to pay because it's free for 250 subscribers. So he said that it's working. He said as of yesterday, people were able to get in.
So now I can start messaging people if I'd like.
Yeah, now it'll be messaging them directly. I'll need to check Shop Messenger and see if I can get it working for public comments, because if Shop Messenger works, then I can, like I said, I think that I can, as far as I can tell, they're not checking how much we're charging. So if the purchase button is a $97 one-time button, and I don't think I have to do anything. Like that's what they gave us as a resource. So I'm like, as far as I'm concerned, that covers my butt. So instead of being $97 a month like Chatmatic is, it would just be a one-time fee of $97. Now, I will tell you that I anticipate they will get shut down eventually. So it would be a 1-month investment until they get shut down.
Who's going to Shop shut thing's going to get shut.
Yeah, the
shut
shot
down?
messenger. Yeah, unless they put some safeguards in there, eventually Facebook's going to come down and shut them down, not us, them, because they have some stuff in there that's not, it's too risky. People are going to abuse it. And if it gets abused too much, Facebook will eventually say, look, people can't use your platform because you're not giving them enough guidance or whatever. We're going to shut you down.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I said, if it does, that could be 3 years down the road. That could be 10 years down the road. That could be, I don't think it'll be anytime soon. But yeah, like I said, that one I should be able to get, I need to check it first because it wasn't even working before the API issues, mostly because they had no freaking training on it.
Okay, well, I'm on and I'm at step 1, step 2, get started. So I'm going to work on that. And I'm also on Learn. It said that it was accepted, but I don't know how the hell to get into it.
Wait, Brian, what do you mean by ManyChat? I don't know much about ManyChat. I don't know if they're working or not because they've had some issues beyond what Chatmatic had because they don't give good training.
Are you saying you don't believe it's free?
ManyChat is free up to a certain point.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but ManyChat's the one that people keep getting shut down left and right. People, not ManyChat.
Yeah, that worries me.
That worries me too. But not only that, but when I was reading their site, really, Brian, that's interesting. So that makes sense though, because Travis has been in touch with he's been like, they have their developers working with Facebook developers daily. Like they're constantly sending messages back and forth. He actually was bragging about the CEO of Messenger commenting on one of his things that he said. He was like giving them a hard time about the F8 Live or whatever. And they're like, he's like, what's the point of having this if nobody can actually submit new things? And then the CEO replied, stand by, we're about ready to fix that. So he was all excited about that. I had to laugh because I'm pretty sure it wasn't really him. Somebody using his account. But what do I know? So yeah, if ManyChat's not allowing if it's only allowing existing accounts and not new ones, it's probably because they still haven't been released to let new ones. But according to, obviously, Joanne just showed you that you can at least connect with Chatmatic. We'll find out. Joanne, you'll have to update us and let us know if you can actually get attached. You will have to see how it works. Right? I mean, I think I've covered it a little bit in here. I wish I have a few minutes since I can hear my husband snoring in the other room.
Watching the kids again. Or watching
Yep.
your daughter again.
Yep. I don't even know where she is. I haven't heard her for a while, so pretty sure she's getting into trouble.
Hopefully she's not out with the gas guys.
They're gone, so yeah, hopefully not.
Learn. It's just saying thank you. Your early access invitation has been requested. So I just wait until they send me something back, I'm assuming?
Yeah, give it an hour.
Oh, okay.
And if you don't see anything, then just send me a message through Facebook or, tag me in the group or whatever, and I'll send you, because they told us that they were going to shut down free early access, and that
everybody's still up.
Right. And so that's what I'm not sure about. They told us that they were going to shut it down and people were going to go on a list because we're technically in beta right now.
Okay.
And so if you can't get into the beta access, then I will send you, I get 10 people that I can invite in. I will send you one of my 10 invites so you can get in.
Okay.
So Brian, Chatmatic, sort of. So Chatmatic is 10,000 times better than anything else I've seen. And of course, I haven't seen ManyChat in detail inside. I've seen other people using ManyChat, and I know it's improved since what they've shown. But the thing with ManyChat is that, one, it gets super expensive the more subscribers you get, and two, they do limit what you can do. So there are no limitations on Chatmatic. It's not built out fully. So there are some things you can do with ManyChat that you can't do with Chatmatic, and vice versa. So Chatmatic and Shot Messenger, though, Shot Messenger it's a little different. You can do some things in Shot Messenger that actually you can do it in Chatmatic now. For example, you can have a keyword trigger but the keyword trigger is on all messages. So if you say, hey, comment me below and I'll send you something, Shot Messenger, you can say me, but then you better not use that in another one because it applies to all of the posts. Whereas Chatmatic, you can apply it to specific posts. So they're very similar in how they act, but the problem with Shop Messenger is that there's not enough built-in restrictions. So Chatmatic, if you want to send out a broadcast message as an example, I'm trying to remember if it was Funnel Messenger or Shop Messenger. Anyway, so in Chatmatic, though, if you want to send out a broadcast message, he's got restrictions in place so that you're not sending marketing messages outside of that 24-hour period. Shop Messenger has no restrictions. It's up to you to know the rules, you to apply them, and if you do them wrong and you get banned, they don't care. They have no training. There's no intention. So you have to basically control everything through Shop Messenger. So while it's cheaper, you do have minimal some problems with that. Like I said, that's why I think they'll eventually get shut down if they don't implement some of those restrictions. But if they keep adding to it, they've been improving it. But again, everybody's been on hold for the last couple months. So if they keep improving it and adding to it, it could very easily turn into a very good Chatmatic, but they will have to charge more for it. There's no way they can get away with this one-time fee and sustain that. So they're just like everybody else. Travis actually had it as a one-time fee when we first got started, right? And now he's adapted it. So our alpha membership turned into, now we get 10 lifetime memberships, basically. So it's a pack of 10 is what we get, which is a heck of a deal for what it does. I mean, if you compare it to any of the ones out there, that was just an awesome deal. Now he's going to be charging more because that's what it takes to sustain it. So same problem with Shop Messenger is, yeah, if we can get it now, and if they honor it beyond that, then if they keep building, it will turn out to be wonderful, which is why I'm glad I have both, because I like testing both. But their training is so freaking horrible right now. It would be great to be able to get in there and learn it, but Facebook's been shut down. Up until literally yesterday, you couldn't do anything. So, but Brian, if you're interested in testing out Chatmatic, like I said, it's, as far as I know, everybody can get into Chatmatic for free right now, and it's up to 250 subscribers. And then you need to get a license. And let's say that, like I don't have many subscribers here because I haven't been focusing on Facebook. But, and this is also Instagram too. I mean, obviously you do Instagram. I believe they, at least from the Facebook side, I can see that you can message people from Instagram now into your messenger. You can open it in Facebook and you can talk to people and everything.
Can you review what a subscriber means on Chatmatic?
Yeah. So let me quick answer, Brian. So Chatmatic is going to be $97 a month for the license. You can get, I wonder if I can see the licenses in here. See, I don't think it's triggering me. Yeah, that's what it'll end up being. Or you can buy like an annual license for $700. It's a discounted price. So it's not, instead of it being $97 a month, it's like, $75 a month or something. But if you do an annual license, then you've paid for the next year. So if 3 months down the road you decide you don't want it attached, then you've already paid out for that. But they also have a third level, which is an agency level, where you can get 10 licenses for like, I don't know, $4,000 or something. And so the 10 license, if you were to calculate it out, it's even cheap. It's like $35 a month per account. And you can swap those off and on as much as you want. So like if I have 10 accounts and then one of them, and ideally as an agency, somebody's paying me for them anyway. Let's say they just said, hey, I want to shut it down. You can take it off of that one and add it to another one. Yeah, if you do, and Brian, ManyChat is cheap. It is cheap to get started, but they have a lot of limitations for the lower level ones. And if you are going to build your subscribers and actually use the actual system, then you're going to end up getting pricey. So ManyChat, so a lot of people have ManyChat. Let's go to pricing real quick. So like they say, unlimited broadcasts. And so that's going to be consistent with both. And then they have sequences. So they have delays and blah, blah, blah. So they have 2 broadcast sequences, or you can have unlimited under the Pro. So let's see if we go to Pro. Yeah, I mean, like I said, they have a bunch of different restrictions, like 10 tags. Where I don't even think we're using tags in Chatmatic yet, but tags are going to be extremely useful later on as you build. But if you get up to 500 subscribers, you're going to start paying. So let's say you're at $10 a month for 500 subscribers, but the more you get up here, you could end up getting, and granted, 15,000 subscribers before you're at the same price, but you still have restrictions. right? You're still going to have restrictions as far as I can tell. So it would definitely be worth giving a try. There are a lot of people in Chatmatic that were using ManyChat. Like I said, the only problem is that even they were all reporting that ManyChat was either canceling them or, they were just having a lot of issues with them. So that's the only reason why I haven't bothered to practice or play with them, because I don't care. I have Chatmatic. And if with ManyChat, I'm like, well, I'll just practice with the one that has the rules. And then if I decide to switch over sometime, but since Chatmatic's free for me for 10 accounts, I probably will never switch. Especially since people keep getting banned. But yeah, I mean, you could try ManyChat once they let people in. But if they're not letting people in, hop on Chatmatic and start at least responding to people so you can do your trigger message. So subscribers. Now, a subscriber is not somebody commenting on your post. A subscriber is when they reply, right? So if they comment on your post and you just send them, so theoretically, Chatmatic could always be free. And let's say that you have a trigger message, and I want it on this one, so I've highlighted it. Hold on a second. Apparently, once I get past that hour point, I start having troubles. Okay, so let's say that I wanted to trigger this, and so instead of it saying, let us know what you think, it said, say me, and I'll send you the link to this recipe. So then I could do the keyword, or I can just make it so whatever they say, I reply. And this is the message that would send back to them. That is not a subscriber. That is just somebody who comments. Now, if I said something that says, are you interested in vanilla-based or chocolate-based? Press 1 for chocolate, 2 for vanilla, right? And so now they reply with 1. Now, because they've replied in Messenger, now they're a subscriber. So it's the same thing. If somebody comments, if somebody sends me a message through Messenger, they're a subscriber. That's basically how it works. If they just comment on a post, it doesn't count. But so theoretically, if you're using it just to send people information, then it's free forever, because you're never going to reach 250 subscribers.
Okay. Wait, the first one I thought you said to comment.
Right. If they comment, they're not subscribing because it's not through Messenger. They're commenting in Facebook.
Oh, because you're saying comment on the post.
Right. So when they comment, so like if I set this up and said, I'm going to say, I'm going to make the keyword cake. Of course, this is going to take 30 minutes, but if they go into, so if they're on Facebook, bakers and cake makers. Oh, it's over here. There it is. Sorry, it's the slow internet with.
I guess my only concern is that I think they're going to comment on Messenger even when I say post, because there's a lot of older people and I don't know if they really know the difference.
Well, here's the thing is, how would they do that? Because if you say, comment below and somebody comes in here, how would they know? Like, they're not going to message. They're not going to go, oh, let me come over here and find out how to send them a message.
Oh, so it will actually, no.
Yeah. Okay. So somebody would come in here and they would comment, right? So this is going to be, anybody comes in here. So they're going to comment and be like, oh, I just said cake on brownies. That's not good. So anyway, so I would say cake, which is I'm not going to do it, but we'll say I did that here. So now my trigger would, within hopefully an hour, would then, sorry. Okay, I hear fighting now. So it's officially, peace is over. So somebody comments cake, then it sends them the information. It's going to send it to them through Messenger, but unless they reply to you, then it's not going to count as a subscriber. Does that make sense?
They're going to comment on my post.
Yeah.
Boy, I feel stupid right now.
No, they've changed the way this works, because keep in mind, Messenger used to be Facebook Messenger. So it used to be basically the Facebook inbox tool. but they've now created Messenger to be a standalone entity. So that's what is confusing to people. It still acts as the inbox. See, so it's still my inbox for Facebook, but it's also a standalone entity. So we are using Messenger to send as the asset delivery. So they say, so you say comment below and I'll send you the link. So comment me below and I'll send you the link. They comment me. We use Messenger to send them the message with the link. So
Which
they would then
on my post.
no.
It
will go into their inbox. This is the difference, between public and private messages.
Okay.
So it would come into their inbox, where this is so weird that somebody asked me this. So this one said get started, right? I don't have anything set up for get started, but this is a subscriber because they messaged me. I didn't message them, but I could say, look, let's say they had said cake and then I sent them a message and then they replied, then it would be.
Okay, so if they come back and say, oh, thank you, now they're a subscriber.
Yeah, they're a subscriber, but you don't have to, you have 250 of those, so you don't even have to worry about that. Most people are not going to reply back.
Okay.
Especially if you don't tell them to. If you tell them, and eventually you would want to do that. You would want to build that in, because what I've talked about this before is that if they're a subscriber, then you can retarget them, but that retargeting is not available right now. You have to do it manually. So there's no way to schedule that through Chatmatic like there is in ManyChat, Brian. Then because ManyChat says it's already set up. So Chatmatic, it's coming soon, but until the API got fixed, there was not much that they could build on. So they're still building that part of it. And then what'll happen is you can send a marketing message within 24 hours. So if you're like, oh, hey, yeah, say amen to get the link to this product, and they say amen and you send them the link, they're probably never going to reply. They're just going to click the link and go. Mm-hmm. But if you say amen to take a survey, and then you say, hey, you want click here to take the survey, and you take them into Messenger to do a survey like I was showing the other day, then that survey would be a subscriber, and then you would have 24 hours so that you can send them a marketing message. But like I said, until he gets that level of scheduling built into there, I'm like, well, that's not really as big of a benefit right now. So you might as well just not worry about the subscribers until that's built in.
Are we able to delete subscribers if they start getting up there and we don't want to pay for it?
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. Okay.
Yeah, so I anticipate if they don't make those changes soon, that Travis isn't going to be making a ton of money, because that's a critical piece. And we've talked about that multiple times in our group. Thanks, Brian. We're almost done. So
bye, Brian. Sorry if I should probably use all my stupid questions.
No, what always cracks me up about Brian is that he seems to have a lot of these concepts that he knows, but he's not sharing information on what's working. So either he's some sort of billionaire just sitting there that's just verifying my information. He's like, oh yeah, Kim knows what she's talking about. I'm just going to correct her as I go. Or he's probably more like me, where he's got six fires going and he's waiting for all 6 to blow up at the same time, because that's what we're going to have happen. That's
so which one is it, Brian? I see you're still on there. Which one is
He's gone.
No, it says he's still attending.
Just not taking any imperfect action. All right, Brian, we got to talk, because
just stop.
That's actually people's number one getting stuck. I don't want to be. We got to talk, Brian. We got to talk, because I think I can. As with all of us, yeah, I agree with you, Brian. But I think, like I said, every time I get a shiny project, I get some momentum on it, and so I have literally 10 things that are moving. And one of these days, all 10 of them are going to start exploding at the same time, and I'm going to be in trouble. So I think we need to talk, because we may need to get some more balls rolling, for lack of a better term, with less effort. I should say less effort. So yeah, but that's what I would say for Chatmatic, to get started with it, at least to get in there and start doing some comment triggers. That's what they call them, comment triggers. And then if you ever want to get into campaigns and do the quizzes and stuff that we talked about before, you move past that and start working with the subscribers. But at least you can use the comment ones to send. You would just send inbox messages. It wouldn't. This is not the one that will do it publicly. That is Shot Messenger.
Okay. Now I have a question for you. If just not to change subject, but I'm going to. Okay. Remember we talked about your contest page, and I asked if it was okay if I copied it, looked at it, used some of the wording, blah, blah, blah. you have a sign-up page at the very bottom.
Oh, on the baker's one?
I forgot which one it is. I'd have to look it up, but yeah, maybe it's whatever you were showing the contest page like a week or two ago. So I went in and I tried to do my contest page, and WordPress has me set up. It's either WordPress or AliExpress, because I told you I bought that program, and I'm set up, but they have it set up to nothing that I have attached, as far as, like, I have MailChimp. They have it set up on, I don't know, one of those other ones that I don't have. What do you use as your mail program to capture the emails? Is it MailChimp or?
Well, I use SendLane, but MailChimp is I will say MailChimp is the dominant. It's like the dominant mailing platform out there because one, it offers really a very reasonable free entry level, and then two, because there's just everybody, they've just really saturated the market with, they are in like every single API connection there is. Like if they're like, oh yeah, integrate with the third-party platform, third-party email platform, they are always on it. In fact, that's what was very frustrating for me because there's like multiple contest ones. Like, so my baker site is a Shopify one, and I was trying to do this, but I can't get. And is this one you were talking about that you saw?
Hold on. I'm not. Oh, wait a minute. I'm still backstage. I still see Brian there. Yeah, that's it, actually. Yeah, so okay. The official entry for contest, and I tried to go in and I can't seem to get the email. I mean, I didn't spend a lot of time on it, I will say, but I was stuck and couldn't figure out how to get it hooked into my MailChimp, and I could have swear I have the API on that site.
Well, you could, I don't know, without looking into more of it, I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly, but worst case scenario is like I did this to test this as an easy way to use this button. But like I said, I'm having problems with getting the information from them because I can put it on a Shopify site, but I can't put it on a freaking WordPress site to save my life. And that should be easier. And I'm like, how is it that I can alter the HTML on Shopify so much easier than I can on WordPress? And that's the dilemma I've been running on with WordPress. Well, they never got back to me. And I'm like, you know what? With all the API issues and stuff, it's probably going to be a while before it gets sorted out. So I didn't really focus too much on it. But then I went back and I said, I'm doing all of this and I want to be able to do more than just a Facebook contest. And I want to do, because this is just to capture their emails. And so this integrates with SendLane. And then it has them, so they have to, it's a double opt-in. So they have to confirm it and everything else. So I thought I was pretty safe, but then I'm going, you know what, this is stupid. I should go through and since I have Shopify, use an app. And that's what I am going to do. I'm going to use an app when we do our contest on Shopify. There are some WordPress plugins that you can do that too, but it's so that it'll count for me and automatically like manage everything. And I will pay for that because it'll be my whatever $37 a month or $47 a month or whatever to do that because I don't want to have to do it manually. But if you want to do it manually, like and that's not difficult, it's just time consuming, then you can basically have it so that it goes to the page and then just take the form, whether it's MailChimp, SendLane, Aweber, any of those will give you a form HTML that you can plug in. And all you do on WordPress, I'm trying to remember which.
That's what I think I was at, and it was getting late. I had something else going on, and I'm like, all right, I've got to revisit it. But I just thought I'd check to see which you are using to see if it's a problem with MailChimp or my WordPress or with Ali.
Well, I can tell you WordPress has been really glitchy with HTML stuff. I don't know why. It used to be really easy. You just go in there. So like, let's say you're in here, and then you just click over to text, and then you can change it.
Yep.
Well, that's not working anymore all the time. It's like there's something glitchy with the WordPress platform that's making it weird. So you could theoretically click over and then you should be able to just wherever you want your form, put the code in.
Right.
That's the way it should work. But it hasn't been working. And so that's where I said, I don't know why, because if I can alter it on Shopify, that I should be able to alter it on WordPress.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's something with that. You may need to get on the WordPress forums and check and see what people say. But what our solution has been, and this is not helpful for your page, unless you have like what I have. Like mine is, I can customize my page to look any way I want. So I can make my form nice and prominent, right, by page. But
I can do that. This isn't my T-Rex site.
No. This is most pages aren't that flexible. Mine is a drag and drop. I can literally make it whatever size, any item on my page, any size I want, and put it anywhere I want in any order. So depending on what your theme is, they may have restrictions on that. So anyway, so let's say
this allows me to move it around and do whatever.
Okay, well that's good. So let's say that
it's a e-commerce geared WordPress.
Okay, so if you wanted to put in a form from it, then what I would do is go to add a widget. So depending on if you can or not, go to your widgets.
Yep.
And then put in custom HTML, and you should be able to put the form in there. Where is it? Custom HTML. So like once you put your widget spot, and once you have your widget spot, you can put your custom HTML into that spot. Like I have mine by pages. So like, where's my thank you page? So like I have a thank you page widget. This is where I was trying to put it, right? So let's say if I put custom HTML, and then I could put my form just right in here and save it in HTML, save it, and then that would come wherever I put that widget.
Okay.
So that's what you should be able to do somehow with. That's how I would if I couldn't get it to work straight into the post, then I would put it through the widget. But there should be a way to do it regularly. But like I said, it hasn't been working. I don't know why. It could be that there's a plugin that I have that's conflicting. It could be like 100 different things.
Okay, maybe that's why I'm running into problems. I don't know, but I'm going to try to look more into it, if not tonight, this weekend.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, so hopefully that'll work. Like I said, I'd love to have this on my site, on my WordPress site, because that's really where I wanted it. And then I got it to work on here, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. So I had a message into them, but they never could get back to me. But like I said, with their API, with the Facebook API, that might have been my problem. But I actually had problems getting the form onto Shopify, and I have put SendLane forms, HTML format on WordPress sites with no problems in the past. Like I said, it's just been a couple of the HTML things are not coming through right otherwise. And that could be their code too, So you may have to go in there and say, like, I think MailChimp actually has a plugin. Like, I think they have.
Yeah, there was something, and I didn't want to download it because I wasn't sure, and I thought I could bring the HTML in. And again, then it got late. I got tired, and I was like, I can't even think right now. So I gave up.
Yeah, well, and that's a lot of it is figuring this stuff out, right?
Mm-hmm. Fun.
Oh, I want to open this.
And it's rough when you work on 5 hours sleep and 4 hours sleep, and I'm like not getting as far as I'd like at times. But I'm sure you're used to that. So with your little one in school and
No, I sleep a lot.
Do
I sleep
you?
a lot more than I should. Yeah, because my mother-in-law takes care of my daughter in the mornings, and so I just keep sleeping because if my daughter doesn't come in and talk to me, I don't wake up.
Oh, you're lucky. I wake up and then I see what time it is, and I'm like, well, didn't stay up till 5 a.m. to sleep all day, so I get up after like 4 hours.
It's also spring here, which means that I basically die because of the allergies. So I mean, when my mom was here, it would be like 5 o'clock, and I would just like fall asleep in the couch. And she goes, I can't do that. I said, Mom, I can't either. I don't know how it keeps happening. And she's like, I've never seen you do that before. And I said, it's just been basically since we moved into this house. And I said, there's obviously, and it could be, and I will say, there's a couple other issues that I haven't been able to follow up medical wise, like my thyroid, they've been concerned about. So it could be a thyroid issue. It could be a vitamin D issue too, because my light sensitivity, I tend not to go out in light. And so my vitamin D levels will drop. And one time they were really close to hospitalizing me, but then I got them up as far as I could. And then I started getting headaches, and I was like, they couldn't figure it out. So I stopped taking the vitamin D, and the headaches started going away. But then it was light sensitivity. And I'm like, seriously, can I just have a normal year again? I haven't had a normal year since before my daughter was born.
Oh, are you sure you also don't have mold or something in the house?
Oh, I'm guaranteed there is. And that's the problem is I'm
Mhm.
allergic to so many things that I think is just overwhelming my body, and I just pass out every now and again.
Mm-hmm.
Not like literally pass out, just get so tired I fall asleep. So
Yeah.
that's,
And
yeah.
if you take
Yeah.
allergy medicine, that could do it too.
Yep, the Flonase that I take, that's what I actually read an article. I had like 2 new issues pop up, and one of them was being really lethargic, and that nobody tells you that. And then at first I didn't have it, but after I took it for about 3 weeks, I started getting really tired. And then I read an article from one of the other symptoms, and it said, "Oh yeah, people reported that if they were taking Flonase with Allegra, and that's the only one I can take, and they had arthritis, and even though I am not diagnosed with arthritis, my twin sister has had, they've mentioned she's had arthritis, and my mom has arthritis, and my grandma has arthritis, and my other grandma has arthritis, so I probably have arthritis, and I have, all different weird pains, reported the specific issue, and then being very tired. And I was like, oh well, so I guess it's just going to be until spring is over, because once spring is over I should get better for a couple months.
I hope so.
Me too, because I'm really tired of being tired.
Yeah, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I should probably let you get back to life, and I probably should get going here, get back to what I need to do.
Yeah, my
Thank
headset's
you.
dying anyway.
You what?
My headset's dying anyway.
Okay. Just giving you the hint to hang up.
Yeah.
So thank you very much again. Always appreciate your time.
Yeah, no
And,
problem. Let me know if you don't get an email from Learn in the next hour or so. Send me a message, and I'll just send you one of my referrals so that way you can get in immediately.
Okay.
All right.
Great. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
And if I don't talk to you, have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you on Monday.
Okay, you too.
Bye. Bye-bye.